हेलो दोस्तों, आपका स्वागत है आज टेक्निकल चैनल पर। आइए आज हम स्टार्ट करते हैं न्यू चैप्टर ऑफ इफेक्टिव लाइफ मैनेजमेंट बुक। आज का जो टॉपिक है आपका लर्न द आर्ट ऑफ एक्शन। ये आपका आज का टॉपिक है। इसमें दिया है वी आर रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर वाट वी आर एंड वाट एवर वी विश आवर सेल्फ टू बी, वी हैव द पावर टू मेक आवर सेल्फ। If it certainly follows that whatever we wish to be in future can be produced by our present actions, so we have to know how to act. Such is life, here today, gone tomorrow. Nothing goes with me, with one except one's merit and demerit, good and evil. Deeds follow one even after death. The Bhagavad Gita says, verily, none can remain ever for a moment without performing action. Seen in this light, it is evident that activity is the sign of life. The sprouting of a seed or reaction of parents to a loving embrace of their child are indications of the presence of life. A dead seed will not sprout no matter how much water is poured on it. The moment action ceases and organism is declared dead. Every single moment we are engaged in some work or the other, be it at school, college, office, or home, irrespective of whether we are a sweeper, a housewife, a businessman, a student, or a powerful executive by profession, learning the art of action will therefore help one and all. What impels us to perform various actions all through our lives? The chapter Know the Ultimate Goal of Your Life has made it clear that a sense of incompleteness within each one of us is responsible for our varied desires. This in turn motivates us to work and platform actions in order to achieve different goals in life. For instance, a feeling that I am incomplete without a trendy car or the latest computer or a branded shirt would normally give rise to a desire in me to own these things. This would make me work to earn money and procure these items of desire. Similarly, others work to acquire degrees, a good job, and so on. Our own experience teaches us that such material gains can at best satisfy us only temporarily for a few moments or a few days. Material achievements, termed intermediate goals, are necessary for our worldly existence and also for our journey towards the ultimate goal of life. Any work done or any action performed, even if it is towards achieving an intermediate goal, should bring us closer to a feeling of completeness and take us closer to our ultimate goal, the state of uninterrupted peace. Art of action distinguish work from karma. The English word work means the use of physical or body power to do something. We often say, I work at home to mean domestic chores like cooking food, washing clothes, cleaning the house, and so on. We say, I work in office when we have to conduct meetings, go on tour, and so on. Here, bodily effort is critical for carrying out whatever work we undertake. On the other hand, the Sanskrit term karma means volitional action or action with intention. It is based on the recognition of man's power of judgment and his capacity to choose his course of action. As we shall see, action here includes both mental and physical action and is therefore much broader than work. Thus, work does not have the same significance as karma, and the two cannot be used interchangeably. There is a type of karma that is unintentional, such as sneezing, respiration, digestion, assimilation of food, and the like, and these are not being discussed here. To reiterate, any action motivated by some intention and accompanied by desire for its fruits is termed as karma. In other words, karma is the work done by an individual with an intrinsic feeling that he or she is the doer of the work and that such work is done for the purpose of reaping the results of actions so performed. We may further understand the subtle difference between work and karma through the following example. When a mother asks her child to fetch bread from the market, the child makes an excuse and says, I am not feeling well, I can't go. Here, the child is trying to escape from work by not performing the physical action, but has, however, not escaped from doing karma, which was performed in the form of the mental manipulation through which he tried to trick his mother. Another example is that of a man who comes back tired from office and spends the entire evening simply sitting in front of the television. Apparently, he is not doing any physical work, but still his conscious decision to watch television is karma. Yet another example is when we are brooding on some problem. In such a case, no physical action is involved, but the process of so many thoughts passing through our mind is karma. Next topic is understanding the law of karma and the concept of rebirth. Having understood what constitutes karma, let us now turn our attention to the inviolable law of karma, which forms the bedrock of our existence and is therefore essential in our attempt to learn the art of action. The biblical phrase, as you sow, so you reap, is in essence the entire law of karma. Simply put, good karma brings good results and bad karma brings bad results. Righteous karma brings merit and leads to favorable conditions of life, while unwanted karma brings demerit and unfavorable conditions of life. None can escape the law of karma, whether he is a student or a doctor or a professor or a laborer. Each one of us is reaping the fruits of our karma performed in the past. Our karma of today impacts our future, even determining the nature of that impact. Otherwise, why does a similar task evoke such diverse attitudes, approaches, efforts, and results among individuals from similar backgrounds and social environments? This effect of karma in influencing the condition of one's life is also responsible for seemingly unfair situations in life. Swami Vivekananda said, what you have earned by your past actions, none can take away from you. If you have deserved wealth, you can bury yourself in the forest and it will come to you. If you have deserved good food and clothing, you may go to the North Pole and they will be brought to you. The polar bear will bring them. If you have not deserved them, you may conquer the world and will die of starvation. The law of karma requires us to believe in the concept of rebirth. According to it, only exceptionally good or exceptionally bad karmas have an impact in the present life. Other karmas manifest in future lives. The residual effects of all accumulated karmas of one life are carried forward into our future lives. It is somewhat akin to the accounting practice where the closing balance in the book of accounts of one accounting year is carried forward as the opening balance of the next year. Next topic is me using the law of karma to solve the riddles of life. The law of karma can also be used to analyze human life and solve some of its greatest mysteries. Every now and then we come across some uncommon talent or genius which, try as we might, we cannot fathom. It is surprising to see a 10-year-old girl playing a musical instrument far better than the maestros of the day. Then there is the common example of two sons in a family, one of whom has grown up into a great and renowned doctor, while the other has turned out to be a miserable failure, spending all his life by being dependent on others and creating trouble all around. A husband and wife leading an ideal life may have a blind child after a long wait, while another couple that lives by cheating and opposing others is blessed with a sound and healthy child. We start to question the inconsistency. Why do good people suffer? Such painful realities make us question the very existence of God also. How can such injustice prevail if God is a just and merciful ruler? How can an omnipotent and omniscient God allow such paradoxes to exist? Isn't the very presence of evil a strong hint that God is only a figment of our imagination? Seeing such contradictions, there are many who give up faith and belief in the existence of God. Such an approach unfortunately makes us all the more miserable and keeps us ignorant of the real threat. Our great sages and incarnations have said that regular introspections and detached observation will lead to the inevitable conclusion that there is no injustice and no undeserved merit or demerit in the world. All such incidents are actually the outcome of the past karmas. If we had the perception to see the past, we would understand the theory of rebirth and perceive the perfect divine justice that exists in every corner of the infinite cosmos. The seers and spiritual masters, on the basis of their experiences, have concluded that birth, marriage, and death are all predestined, and the so-called random events and chance encounters are part of the synchronistic behavior of the universe. In reality, there are no accidents. It is karma that determines our birth, our parents, brothers, sisters, conditions of life, and so on. This also tells us that if we wish to enjoy a peaceful life in the future, it is only our good karmas performed in this life that can earn us that right. To assert the threat of this argument, we present a situation involving two equally bright students who appear for an exam. Both perform equally well, but one procured 98% and the first rank, while the other secured 97% and the second rank. Their answer sheets were scrutinized by the same teacher. He checked the first paper in the morning in a good mood and so gave 98%. Later in the day, he had an argument with his wife and so was in a foul mood when we checked the second student's paper. This student lost out on all the appreciation that went to the first student for topping the exam. Now, who is to blame for this? It seems as if life has been unfair, although both the students prepared equally hard and were equally competent. However, according to the law of karma, there is no unmerited gain or loss. We can only surmise that the first student had some righteous karma in his account, and so life presented him with a favorable situation, whereas the second student had some unrighteous karma in his account and therefore got an unfavorable situation. तो आज का टॉपिक यहीं पे एंड होता है. आपने ये पूरा ऑडियो सुना है, उसके लिए आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. हैव ए नाइस डे.